Functional Quadriplegia ICD-10-CM codes. Functional Quadriplegia ICD-10-CM codes. Functional quadriplegia is not coded under the category of item I-5100, which is a specific type of spinal cord injury. This diagnosis describes a person's complete immobility as a result of a physical disability. It can also result from other conditions, including advanced dementia, cerebral palsy, or contractures. The primary physician should document the diagnosis on the patient's medical record, and the ICD-10 code should be used for reimbursement purposes. ICD-10-CM has a diagnosis code for functional quadriplegia. It's the same code for both congenital and acquired forms of the condition. It's the newest edition of ICD-10 and became effective on October 1, 2021. It can be used in any HIPAA-covered transaction for which the patient is eligible. Generally, R53.2 must be used without a decimal point, as some clearinghouses may remove it during electronic filing. The functional quadriplegia diagnosis code is R53.2. It's a billable code that indicates the diagnosis for reimbursement purposes. This new ICD-10 diagnosis code was adopted for use in the healthcare industry on October 1, 2021. The ICD-10-CM codes should be used in any HIPAA-covered transaction. The ICD-10 codes should always be used in the proper order. You should not include a decimal point in functional quadriplegia. The decimal point is required for electronic filing. The R53.2 diagnosis code is the most commonly used in ICD-10. It's a billable diagnosis code and should be used for any HIPAA-covered transaction. It should be noted that the numeric value should be without a decimal point. The reason for this is that some clearinghouses may remove the decimal point for electronic filing. This can cause the ICD-10 code to be invalid. The Functional Quadriplegia Diagnosis Code 53 South African Rand and 20 cents is the code for this condition. It's not a separate condition, but it can be a comorbid condition. It is categorized as a comorbid diagnosis in the ICD-10 system. This code is valid in both HIPAA-covered and non-HIPAA-covered transactions. However, the definition of this diagnostic code is not comprehensive enough to indicate its prevalence. ICD-10-CM code R53.2 should be used when the diagnosis code is needed for reimbursement purposes. It should be used in all transactions where the patient's medical record must be maintained. There are many other reasons for using this code, and it should be considered a legitimate diagnosis. It is a condition that is classified as a severe comorbidity. It's a disease that has multiple comorbidities. It is considered a comorbidity of several other diseases and should not be overlooked. Another reason to use functional quadriplegia as a diagnosis is to ensure that the doctor is able to use it in the correct medical setting. It is important to use the term functional quadriplegia when coding a condition that's related to a disease. It's a useful way to identify the cause of a patient's disabilities. It helps physicians identify comorbidities. This code is used in HIPAA-covered transactions. It specifies the condition as a major comorbidity. The term functional quadriplegia is used for this diagnosis. The comorbidity is also called functional quadriplegia. There is a corresponding diagnostic code for this condition in ICD-10-CM. This ICD-10-CM code is a valid diagnosis. The ICD-10-CM code for functional quadriplegia, R53.2, is a billable diagnosis code. The code is a valid ICD-10-CM diagnosis code in all HIPAA-covered transactions. It is best to use the code based on the condition. This is the most commonly used classification for this condition. It is also a valid ICD-10-CM code. The ICD-10-CM R53.2 coding chapter includes chapter-specific notes that enhance understanding of the target ICD-10-CM Volume 1 code. The notes are essential for determining the ICD-10-CM R53.2 code. This guide also provides an overview of chapter-specific coding guidelines for ICD-10-CM R53.2. Further, it offers more information on the excludes notes for ICD-10-CM. Read this. What does functional quadriplegia mean? Functional quadriplegia, quadriplegics, quadriplegics.